Hi, hello everybody, I'm Justin, this is Koopa. Welcome to Koopa's Corner. Today we're going to talk about WWE's premium live event, Evolution. It's the second Evolution. It's going to be this upcoming Sunday, not Saturday, like most PLEs. And this is going to be our preview and predictions video. We'll preview the match card, the advertised match card, talk a little bit about the stories that have been told thus far, some of those implications, and make our predictions for who's going to win here. Now this video is a little bit out a little bit later than it normally would be. I do apologize for that delay. But let's jump right to it. Alright, first up, it's the women's world title match. It's going to be Io Sky defending her women's world title against Rhea Ripley. Now this is a huge match, huge star power, and the story has been pretty simple. They decided to do Evolution 2, and because it's such a big historic event, an all-women's event, well, the general managers let Io Sky and Tiffany Stratton, the two women's world champions, pick their own challengers. Io Sky wanted to pick Rhea Ripley because Rhea Ripley is the best, in her words. It's been pretty friendly banter back and forth since then. Not much story to be told. The story has largely revolved around the history that these women have, the long-term history dating back to the Mae Young Classic, dating back to NXT, their match at WrestleMania. The story really comes down to Io Sky has never lost to Rhea Ripley. Can Rhea Ripley beat her this time? Nice and simple story to be told. Big fan of Rhea Ripley. I'd love to see her walk out with the title here again. I think going into SummerSlam, right, it makes sense to have Rhea, it's a much bigger name, hold the title. But the thing is, neither of these women sort of have a ready story lined up for them moving forward. So this really could be the start of something bigger between them. This could continue on. Though this isn't the first time we've seen them face each other recently. So, this feels like, okay, maybe somebody else is going to come out, a surprise, a return, interfere some way, and it's going to kick off a story with one or both of these women. But it's really tough to say because it doesn't feel like there's anything lying in the wake for either one of these women. That being said, as much as I want Rhea to win, it feels like why throw away the fact that Io has never lost to her on an event like this, right? So I think Io is going to retain. I'm predicting Io is going to win. And hopefully we get something that sets up a better story moving forward, because right now, as it stands, this match kind of ends this, and neither woman really have anything to do going forward. So they both kind of need something bigger for SummerSlam coming up. There's also a Battle Royal, and the winner of the Battle Royal gets a championship opportunity in Clash in Paris, right? So we don't know all of the entrants to the Battle Royal. We know Ivan Niles in it. We know a handful of NXT superstars are in it. They announced that on NXT. We know Nikki Bella's in it after her storyline with Liv Morgan fell apart. Probably going to see a few other surprises, returns, legends, something along those lines. This is a great place to just throw as many people as you can, get as many people on the card as you can. But really, it feels like Nikki Bella's going to win this. She was set up for something bigger. That fell apart. So they throw her in this, she wins this, she gets something bigger than down the road, assuming her return wasn't for a one-off, right? So I wouldn't be surprised. I think Nikki Bella wins this. And then she goes on to face Rhea Ripley and or Io Sky at Clash in Paris. I actually don't know the date for Clash in Paris. I think it's after SummerSlam. Pretty sure SummerSlam is the next event. So kind of what I was saying earlier sort of still stands true with they're not really being a direction going forward. But whoever wins at SummerSlam, or I guess tonight, then SummerSlam is going to have an opponent lined up for Clash in Paris. So could be anybody. Battle Royals are always very tough to predict. But right now, Nikki Bella feels like the one standout name. So I'm going to predict Nikki Bella. And I also mentioned that Tiffany Stratton got to choose her opponent. She chose Trish Stratus. They've teamed up in the past. That story is going to make its way back around here. Because now they are facing each other for the title. And it's a great opportunity for Tiffany Stratton. You know, beating a legend like Trish Stratus, really going to elevate her star power. Because Tiffany Stratton, unfortunately, has felt like she's just been stuck in this circle with Nia Jax, and not a whole lot going on SmackDown. Naomi sort of hanging out on the periphery. So it's pretty refreshing to see her get a different challenger. And I think there's a lot of potential here. Trish looks great for her age. I mean, she just looks great in general, right? But she's in incredible shape. She can still go in the ring. We've seen her return now, before, after all those years. It's not her first match back. So, should be pretty entertaining. And I think Tiffany Stratton's going to win because, that's what makes the most sense, right? She's your young star that you're investing in. And, beating a name like Trish Stratus is going to mean a lot. The NXT Women's Championship is also on the line. Jacy Jayne versus Jordynne Grace. Not a big NXT guy. Used to watch it. Used to go to the tapings. Haven't watched it in years. Do not follow NXT. I don't really have much to say about this. I'm just going to go ahead and say, Jacy Jayne is going to retain because I know she hasn't been champion for long. She won the title from Stephanie Flair. Who's another name in the Battle Royal, by the way. Another big name in the Battle Royal. But, yeah, she won it from Stephanie Flair before Stephanie Flair came up to the main roster. Hasn't held it for long. Don't really know too much else. So, could be wrong about that one. I really don't know much about the story. Not an NXT guy. Sorry. But we also have another match on the card here. It's actually, for PLE, there's actually quite a bit on the card. Instead of the usual 5, there's 7. So we have another match here. This is going to be number 5. This is going to be Jade Cargill versus Naomi. It's going to be no holds barred. This story is still going from WrestleMania. Hopefully these two can finally put it to rest. Jade Cargill can move on, do something a little bit more important, feud with somebody else a little bit. This has drug on too long, given the fact that she probably should never have been feuding with Naomi in the first place. It should have been Bianca. They put Bianca in the Women's World Title match at WrestleMania instead of against Jade. She ended up getting hurt. She's been out ever since, just reinforcing the fact in my mind that it was a mistake. But hopefully this is the return of Bianca. Hopefully we see that here. And it could be to kickstart a feud with Naomi or with Jade. I think that would be, honestly, probably for the best if she sort of returned to, save Naomi, help Naomi, surprising everybody, shocking everybody, big heel turn from Bianca Belair. Sort of feels against her character. She's never been heel, but from a storytelling perspective, kind of makes sense. So I'm predicting Jade Cargill here. She is the, she is the obvious choice. She's got huge star power, huge aura, and she's got nowhere to go but up. She shouldn't take a loss, especially to Naomi of all people. All right, we've got a tag team championship match. After Liv Morgan's injury, the Judgment Day was like, hey, Roxanne Perez can fill in. And Nick Aldis, Adam Pearce, they were both like, well, we'll give you the chance to defend the title, see if you earn being a tag team champion. So she's going to team up with Raquel Rodriguez to defend the tag titles against a team from Raw, a team from SmackDown, and a team from NXT. From NXT, it's Sol Ruca and Zaria. Don't know much about them. I know Sol Ruca is also the Speed Champion, which is their Twitter show. The Kabuki Warriors are the Monday Night Raw team. They reunited just this past episode of Monday Night Raw. And on SmackDown, it's Alexa Bliss and Charlotte teaming up together. Now, in my experience, it feels like Roxanne Perez and Raquel should win this, right? But I think it made a lot of sense in the past for Roxanne to get some wins, win Queen of the Ring, win a few opportunities here to essentially establish herself and sort of make up for Liv Morgan's absence, right? Oh, she starts to win. She starts to ingratiate herself in the Judgment Day. She starts to replace Liv Morgan. So when Liv Morgan finally returns, she's, been iced out essentially. I think that is the story that makes the most sense, but she has eaten loss after loss after loss. So who knows, right? She'll probably lose here as well. And then they can tell the story of, Roxanne cost Liv her title, just like she's been costing all of these other victories for the Judgment Day. Not the direction I think that story should be going, but that sort of feels like the way that it's going. So I'm going to predict that, Roxanne eats the pin here. Or maybe Raquel eats the pin, then blames Roxanne. But the Kabuki Warriors just reunited. I know Asuka's coming back from a big return, but it doesn't feel like there's a lot of momentum on their side. I don't think it's going to be the NXT women, just because they just don't feel relevant enough. I think Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair are two huge names that aren't really doing anything else, and this whole sort of, we're not friends, but we're going to team up. They've got like a strange bedfellows story going on here. This is the team with the most narrative. So going forward, there are stories to tell with it, and I think that's enough. So I'm going to predict Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. And then finally, there's one more match. It's the United States Championship match. It's Becky Lynch defending her United States Championship against Bayley and Lyra Valkyria in a triple threat match. This is the match of the night where there has been the most build, the most story. Becky Lynch returned at WrestleMania to help out Lyra, to team with Lyra, because somebody took out Bayley backstage. Turns out that somebody was Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch also the next night on Raw, they lost the tag team titles. She turned on Lyra. Both Lyra and Bayley have gotten one-on-one opportunities that they've cost each other. So now it's a triple threat. There's a lot of bad blood sort of between everybody. And this feels like a great chapter in the story. Becky Lynch, I think, is going to walk away retaining the championship. And Lyra is going to walk away, pushing heel more than she ever has. She's sort of been flirting that line. I think we're going to get a full-on heel Lyra Valkyria. I'm not sure what's next for Bayley, but I think Lyra and Becky both can move on to bigger and better things coming out of this. Which is kind of a shame, right? Because back in the NXT days, Bayley felt like she had the highest ceiling. But she is definitely the one who's amounted to the least out of the four horsewomen. So, but yeah, should be a pretty good card. Expecting, again, a lot of surprises, a lot of returns, legends. They're going to make a big deal about this. The first Evolution was 2018, I want to say. So it's been 7 years. They're finally doing another one, another all-women's event. So just expect them to sort of play up to that a little bit and how far they've come. They're going to talk about the women's evolution. I wouldn't be surprised to see Paige. I doubt we'll see AJ Lee, but she would be huge, huge, huge if she returned. Brie Bella might return and help Nikki win. Legends like Michelle McCool have been around a lot lately. There's going to be some spotlight on the next generation from NXT. There's going to be some spotlight on some current superstars, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Jade Cargill. Like, it's going to be a pretty solid event. 7 matches is kind of a lot for WWE PLE recently. Back in the day, they used to do a lot of matches like this. So don't expect all of them to be, super long or great matches. They're just trying to get as many women as possible on the card. And I really think the Battle Royal is probably going to be pretty quick. The tag title match I don't think is going to be the longest match. I think you should expect a lot out of the triple threat. You should probably expect a lot out of the women's world title match. Those are the two I sort of have the highest hopes for. No holds bar between Jade and Naomi. That has a lot of potential to be violent if they play up to the gimmick. So there's a little bit of everything going on here. Should be pretty fun. Let me know in the comments, guys, if any legend were to return here, which legend would you want to see? Aside from Nikki Bella, aside from Trish Stratus, we know they're going to be there. Who do you want to see return? Could be anybody going, back. Tori Wilson, Stacy Keibler, Sable. I mean, you could be going back to Jazz. You could be going back to Jacqueline. You could be going back through the Attitude Era. You could be going back to Lita. You could be going back Brie Bella, AJ Lee, Beth Phoenix. Like, there are tons of women throughout WWE history that could potentially return here. So if any legend were to return, who would you want to see? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.